Hi, everybody. I'm Nina Boski, and I'm one of the producers of Behind the Icon. And of course, this is so fun for me because we have got the star, the beautiful, magnificent, and very talented actress, Erin Gavin, with us that plays Marilyn Monroe. And I am so excited to be talking to you today. Hi, Erin.
Hi Nina. Oh, you could give me a big head with that introduction.
Well, I actually don't think you ever would. You are one of the most down to earth. And although you are a total looker, and I've been with you, and these guys who were walking down the street, and the guys are like, "Whoa," I'm sure it's very Marilyn-ish. She was back in the day, right? But you have that Marilyn-ish beautiful quality that everybody loves about her, and it's really nice to see that quality in you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we have a episode coming out, and it is an exciting one because it's very special to us. And we've been working on this one, and it has to do with Ella Fitzgerald's. There's a couple themes in this one. It's called Soul Sisters, and there's a reason why it's called Soul Sisters, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But it's really around the relationship of Marilyn Monroe and Ella Fitzgerald. So prior to this episode, what did you know about Ella and Marilyn Monroe's relationship?
I would say I had to do a bit of research. So I knew that Ella, was a force in Marilyn's life, and vice versa as well. Also, of course, Ella's music and her voice is phenomenal. So I was always a fan anyway of that era and that music. So I knew of Ella, of course. But when I found out they had a great friendship, it was great to hear because that made total sense, and the fact that Marilyn was an advocate for Ella's career and tried to push her, which was lovely to see because, back then it was definitely a struggle for especially Black women trying to make their mark. But like Marilyn just, she just sees the soul of the person, and that shines through in this relationship.
It's really interesting that you say that because she sees the soul of that person. And I think you nailed it because most people that do not know, the typical Marilyn fan, the one that really knows a lot about her would know that. But the average person that knows Marilyn Monroe might not know how soulful she really was. And she didn't really see in sense of color. And I found it really amazing that in the 50s, here she is standing up to these studio heads, basically saying, "Hey, you know what? If you don't like it, I am not doing this. I am not doing this. You'll have to fire me." And I'm thinking, not a lot of people would put their own career and livelihood on the line. And so let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Let's say you were Marilyn Monroe back in the day, okay, and you were experiencing some of the same things, because I know you in your heart. But would you think you'd do the same thing if it was happening to you today?
If it was happening to
If
me.
the yeah, if you were Marilyn and the same thing was happening today, would you have that ability to go, you know what, I'm not doing it because it's not right?
Yeah.
Short and the long answer of that one, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's, you find yourself in situations all the time, and um, you know that some of these situations could be life changing, but if it doesn't fit well within your mind and your heart, you're not going to do it. It's as simple as that. If it doesn't feel right, if it's not part of your moral code, then it's a no-brainer, really. You don't want to do it. So she took a lot of risk, but I don't think she saw it like that. I think she just sees that it's not within her moral code, and she just automatically stood up for what she believed in. And yeah, I don't think that she's the type of person to really consider the consequences too much. I think she's more such a strong believer in her thoughts and what is right, and she went for it.
You
And
know, it's really interesting you're saying this because so much of who you are reminds me a lot of the character of Marilyn, not the character of Marilyn Monroe, but the essence of who she was as a person. So I don't know if you remember this, but because we were preparing, and I think Gary was still writing this episode, and it was in the heart, in the real kind of thick of the pandemic when it first started, and everybody was kind of scared to go outside. And this is you are getting groceries for the elderly because they couldn't go out themselves. And most people were like, "Oh no, I'm not going to do that, let alone go visit people and be able to do something as good." And that was just being kind-hearted. And when I think of Marilyn Monroe and I think of you, I think what a kind heart that you have. And it's a celebration of Marilyn in this episode, and Ella and their relationship, but
yeah.
also I think women in general and the soul sisters kind of theme. What do you think about soul sisters right now? What do you think? I mean, just in general about having your soul sisters. What do you think about that?
Ooh, well, I'd like to think that most people in life have at least one, right? And I think I'm fortunate that I have many, that I can feel them even when they're not near me. Like if one of my friends has been my friend since I was 4 years old. Our name's Julie McFadden, and we've been friends since we were 4. But so sometimes, like, I can feel like you can feel someone's energy just the minute they pick up the phone, like something's off or something's great or whatever. But I mean, those who go through life without a soul sister, oh, my heart goes out to you, because it's, you do, like, I was at a jazz club last night, actually, Black Rabbit Rose. It's great. It's in Hollywood, if you ever check it out. And the guy was singing a song about we don't need anybody else, right? And as much as it's a cool song and it's a good vibe, the end of the song, he said, "You know what? This song is not true. Not true at all. We all need love. We're all in this world to feel love, to, relationships is really why we're here, to feel emotion, to feel love. We need each other." And it's just like you say with Soul Sisters, it's the truth. We're here to fall in love. We're here to love other people. We're here to share love, be all those things. So
and
so
and also be through with love, because let's talk a little bit about, you have a album and a song that's out there. Let's talk a little bit about that.
yeah. Well, I'm Through with Love was the song that Marilyn sang. And Through with Love was in Some Like It Hot, right? Yes. I'm Through with Love. So I re-recorded that. That was the first song that came out. I re-recorded it, and we did it a little bit more modern style. Still kept that vibe of the 1950s, 60s, early 60s. And yeah, I mean, I think I'll speak for myself when I say there's been moments in my life where I'm like, I'm through with love, and it's usually like to do with a love relationship, with a man, where I'm like, that's it, I'm done.
Been there, done that, not doing that one again, are you?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to take those risks in your love life, right? And you know that ultimately, yeah, that song could ring some truth by the end of it, or it might be like, a better tune that you're singing, that you are in love and everything's great. So yeah, the song has some truth in it for me in moments in my life.
I
And
think for every woman, or man for that matter, it has
yeah.
always been I think if you've lived a little, you're going to go through heartache and breakups. And certainly Marilyn has had her, I'm sure she thought that many times. I'm through with you. I'm through with this. I'm through with
Yeah.
everything, And so I think that's, it's wonderful to, kind of recapture that essence through her songs as well. So got a
Yep.
question for you. What other songs are coming out of this album?
So the reason I ended up doing this album was because when I was on stage and I was playing Marilyn, everybody loved the songs. And I thought, why has no one re-recorded these songs? Because we could just, kind of like what Michael Bublé did. He took the Rat Pack and Frank Sinatra, and those songs are still loved, clearly. But what he did was he put a little bit of a modernish spin on them and just ever so popular. So there was a record label called Serdica Records, it's classical contemporary, and we teamed up and we thought, well, let's do it. Let's just record them and put them out there for fun, if nothing else. So that's what we're doing. So the next one that comes out is I Want to Be Loved by You. And that again was I Want to Be Loved by You was in Some Like It Hot.
Yeah,
Actually, that's my
yeah.
favorite movie of all time, to be
Oh, it was mine too, before I was even involved in Maryland projects, etc. So it's fun to have that.
I love that movie.
I know. So I mean, Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis
Brilliant.
and oh my God,
Brilliant.
I can't think of the guy that oh my gosh, he's a
Oh,
character actor from a long, long time ago that played
I know who
Jack
you're
Lemmon's
talking about.
husband. You know what I mean? Like, but he was hysterical,
Yeah.
as well. And then just I could watch that movie over and over again. So let's talk a little bit about why Marilyn. I know you look like her, so there's a lot of resemblance in terms of the blonde hair, the blue eyes, the essence. But why do you want to play her? Because you played her a
Uh,
lot.
well, funnily enough, I personally don't think I look like her, but I also obviously, you know, people have people have a different perspective on that. But so actually I didn't know much about Marilyn at all. Honestly, I literally, my agent called me in for a casting to play Marilyn, and I thought, oh, I'll better do some research. I don't really know very much about the person. So I did a bit of research. It was really quick, and because I literally had the casting in like 2 days' time. So honestly, I really didn't know anything about Marilyn. I'll be honest. Obviously, I knew she was an actress. She was in one of the movies that I really loved, but other than that, I really didn't know much about her. But it just so happened that that was the first casting I went for as Marilyn, and I got it, and it just snowballed from there. Like I just kept getting asked to play Marilyn. But as I've gotten to do a lot of research, like obviously, I've gotten to know this person pretty well in terms of who she was, and I enjoy playing her because she's very colorful, and you can play a whole array of emotions. She's a very interesting character, or person, should I say, and I guess in ways I can relate to her, and I've enjoyed playing her. So when the opportunities arise to play her, if I like the script and things, and the people that I'm working with, I'll say yes, because I enjoy playing her. It's fun. So
Yeah, she's definitely got a lot of the highs and the lows, and a lot of dimensions to her that I think are fun to play. And you do have to be a good actress to be able to play her as well. So
well, that was the other thing. I was like, this is a huge challenge, because if you, excuse my French, F up, you're judged by
you'll
many,
hear it. You'll
right?
hear about it. Oh, you will. I feel for you because, you know, playing Marilyn, I mean, for Marilyn fans, real true diehard Marilyn fans, it has got to not. I mean, it's not easy because they do scrutinize just about every single
Yep.
aspect of her
And
life.
as they should. So for me, the biggest challenge was uh, my goal was to do the best job that I can do, and you're not going to please everybody, but my job was to have the person watching or listening uh, to really feel the essence of Marilyn um, in some capacity, or truly believe that I that that this body is being taken over by Marilyn and I'm Marilyn. Like that's what you want the audience to feel, and you can only do the best that you possibly can do. Um, and so the fans are important to me because you want to give them that experience, that they really feel that energy and that they are loving what we're doing. uh, and also you learn from the fans too, because they'll maybe tell you something you didn't know, or they'll say, oh, I like the way you did this, but maybe what about this move that she used to do? So the fans actually really help, and I'm there to appease to them, I guess, and make them feel like they're, I'm doing a good job of the person they truly look up to and are a massive fan of. So, but I just try my best, I guess.
Well, I think one of the things that I think is really interesting about that, because they will share with you what is either a truth or what they feel, etc. And I think I like what you said about, you can't become her. You're never going to be Marilyn, but you have
No.
the essence of who she is, or drawing in those qualities that bring out the most in you that actually resembles Marilyn. But I love it that you bring so much of you to the role as well. It's not just, oh, I'm trying to act like Marilyn Monroe, because there's a lot of people out there that try to act like the character of Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a different kind of slant. And, I've always loved how you work in terms of the dedication to your craft and really getting into those moments, particularly in the scenes
Thank
that we
you.
do with the podcast that are not always, her running around with her skirt up or anything like that. That's more Marilyn, how people sometimes see her. Let
Yeah.
me ask you a question. This is an important time in the world. I've been asking the cast members, we're dealing with civil rights, we're dealing with issues that were happening back in the 1950s, the 60s, but they're just as relevant today. What do you think about these themes right now? And what do you think the importance is that this episode is going to shine a light on in regards to civil rights?
Ooh, that's a deep question there.
I know, I know. This is a deep episode, really.
Yeah, it is indeed. Ooh, well, I think that the world has been going through a slow change for a long time, and every so often it boils to the brim.
Mm-hmm.
And I think right now we're just coming off the edge of that. Um, but I feel like definitely humanity is waking up for those who see color and for those that see class. And I think a lot more of humanity is saying, actually, this is not a thing. Why is this a thing? We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And I think that the more we don't shy away from it and the light is shined on it, the more that, it will have an impression on people's way of thinking, to be better. And this episode 100% definitely shines a light on that for sure. But I think we've still got a long way to go, especially in certain parts of the world. And the good thing about this episode in particular is much wherever you are in the world, you can hear it.
Isn't that wonderful? And one of the other themes that comes in this episode, and this is another one that people just don't get right. They have very big assumptions of the Happy Birthday, Mr. President, and the seduction of JFK. That's the rumor that, she was out there just singing to him, trying to get his attention. And there's probably other rumors in there, but that's the main one that I've heard over the years. So this one kind of sets the record straight as well. And, we see that Marilyn, and there's proof that she was actually rehearsing during this time. But there's also much more to the after party than her trying to have an affair with JFK. And so what do you think about these women kind of coming together in a conversation about civil rights and soul sisters? And what do you think about the feminine energy coming in? Because there's a lot of masculine energy in terms of the leaders of the world, and look where we're at. Do you think that it would make more sense, given what these women were talking about in the episode, to bring a little soul and little sisters to the group?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, women have a more softer approach sometimes to things, and I think there was one sentence in it, if I remember right, and it said that there wouldn't be a war if the country was run by women.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess, I think it's important that we have both, men's perspective and women's perspective in the world. And I mean, I think that scene is very important and very interesting. And you see a change in the dynamic, like women are not taking a back seat. And especially in this episode, they're ready for change, and they're thinking, well, if the men can't do it, we can.
Well, you gotta love it. And I love the fact that that I think we all need a little bit more soul in the technology that's happening today, and also the power and the greed and everything else that's going on. So I think this is a timely episode on a lot of other ways as well. But one last question I have for you is, what do you want people to get out of the episode, as you have obviously performed it now and have read it multiple times? What do you want people to get out of this episode?
Ooh, well, you all throughout the whole series and all the episodes, you want people to really feel the story. And when I say that, they're following and they're in tune with it, and they really feel all the different elements throughout it. In this particular one, it's you feel the friendship between Ella and Marilyn, and it's beautiful. I sounded American there. So,
well, it's so nice. Yeah, and it's so interesting because I've asked, or I've told people in our previous interviews, you're not American, you're Scottish, so here you are playing an American actress, and yet you've got I remember when I first met you, this strong Scottish accent. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, say that again.
I think, it's funny because when I'm home, my accent's obviously stronger. But when I'm here, some words you find easier to say more American. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'd be there repeating yourself a lot with some people. So that's why that word sounded very American. But no, back to the episode. I think people will really enjoy it, especially the civil rights part of it, and also the friendship that's developed between two women who you would, I guess, in that point in time, never really see being best of friends, mm-hmm. which is very sad to say, but probably the truth. So I think it's very heartwarming and very close to the bone, mm-hmm. I would say, in many ways. But I really enjoy the writing actually on Behind the Icon. I think it's great, and not a lot of people know who she really was, and you guys do a good job of that, because she wasn't that dumb blonde that a lot of people who don't really know anything about her see. She was extremely smart, and she knew exactly what she was doing.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And a lot of similarities, my friend. You directed as well. So there's many, many themes in this episode. And if you're a true Marilyn fan, and even if you're just getting to know her, I think this episode that deals a lot with civil rights, the relationship between Ella Fitzgerald and Marilyn Monroe, and also talks a lot about the Happy Birthday, Mr. President, which I know
Oh yeah,
you too on
happy
your album
birthday,
as
Mr.
well.
President.
I love it. I love it. So we are going to be hearing from you as well. People get exposed more to your music, too, as it relates to Marilyn Monroe. And I think this is a great time to expose some of your talents
Thank you.
as well, Erin. And I just want to say thanks again. We could literally could not do the show without you. So thank you.
It's been amazing. I really enjoyed it, to be honest. I really enjoyed it. Um and like I said, I enjoy playing. Enjoy playing Marilyn, because she's and people always say, oh, don't you want to play somebody else? Maybe you should play somebody else. And I thought I play other people. It's not, it's not I just play Marilyn. It's just that a lot of people associate me with that. But what they don't realize is that actually playing Marilyn, yes, okay, you're playing the same person, but everybody in every script has a different perspective. And also, she's so colorful that it's hard to get bored playing her.
Yeah, and especially, I'm sure outside of the Behind the Icon, but in Behind the Icon, think about all the different episodes that we have done and will be doing. I mean,
Yep.
she really changes, and she changes from moment to moment, let alone from, year to year, decade to decade. So I think we have a lot more to
Yeah.
be able to shine the light on in Maryland, hopefully. And I'm going to say this to the audience. We could not do this podcast without you.
Mhm.
And as many people know, we really are trying to shed light to the real Marilyn Monroe, not the caricature and not all these rumors. And sometimes what happens is people get so caught up in the rumors that that's what they want to hear. And in selling this podcast to mainstream media, that's been the challenge, because they're like, what's the hook? What's the hook? And it's called her life. That's the
Yeah.
hook. It's called the truth. And
Yeah.
and it's not always so easy. So if you really like this episode, you love the Behind the Icon series, please share it with your family and friends and get them to share it and give us a review. I have to tell you, those really count. And particularly right now, as we look at going into season 2, season 3, season 4, and really finishing out Marilyn's life, we really do need your support and want to thank you in advance, because we certainly could not do this without you. And it takes a lot, as you know, to put these on, because it's a dramatic podcast. It's not just you and I talking like we are right now. And
Oh.
it's sound design and music and everything else that goes into it, let alone the wonderful acting from you and the rest of the cast. And just I'm so thankful and grateful that we get to shed light not only on mental health, addiction, but now civil rights and the ability to take something in our world that is actually bigger than race right now and the big divide, and say to ourselves, you know what? We're actually more common than we think we are. We have more similarities than we think we are. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think you and Monique DeBose, who plays Ella
Oh,
Fitzgerald,
she's brilliant.
isn't she? She really is quite a talent. And the two
Yeah.
of you together really do justice and homage to these two women and their legacies. And I'm just
I hope so.
honored, honored.
That's all we can hope for, right? Like, to as an actor, that's what you want to achieve. You just want, you want to do the best that you can. And obviously, you as the audience, we want you to really enjoy it and feel the emotions that as we go through it. But honestly, it's one of the best scripts. I've read a lot of Marilyn scripts, and it's one of the best scripts I feel that I've read, because you guys really go into it on a deeper level, and show who she really was, and what she went through. A lot of facts in there, which is great. So I think we'll just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going. And like I said, we're not going to be able to do it without you. So as we always say when we end our commentary podcast, hold a good thought for Marilyn, but let's hold a good thought for yourself, and let's hold a good thought for our world, that we can come together much more than we are apart. So thank you, Erin Gavin, once again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.